start the recording. Cloud
Yeah,
recording. Yeah, yeah,
started.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Today we are going to see the recurrent neural network. So the whole thing of deep learning is all about our human brain, mimic the human brain. So first we saw artificial neural network. That artificial neural network, we mimic the neurons, like neural networks in our brain. Like the same way we are created a artificially created neural network in artificial neural network. And then yesterday we saw convolutional neural network. So the convolutional neural network mimics our vision, the human vision, to computer vision. So and then we have a recurrent neural network. So what the recurrent neural network mimics, like we humans remember some things, remember the past things. The same way recurrent neural network will remember the past things. And let's see, uh, why not feed forward neural network. Feed forward neural network is nothing but the artificial neural network or convolution neural network. These neural networks, if you see, if you take some inputs and give a output. So if you give a elephant elephant as a input, so it's classified as elephant. Now if you input a dog, so it's classified as a dog. But if you see there, uh, the two outputs that are given, the first output and the second output, has no relation between them. So elephant and the dog has no relation between them. So what I'm going to say is, when you want to, let's say you are studying a book. So if you want to understand a sentence, you need to remember the past two words or three words. Okay, then you will understand the sentence. No, like the same way, in the recurrent neural network, you will remember some past values, to the new values. And the outputs of the neural networks and the recurrent neural network, it dependent to each other, it dependent of the previous outputs. Okay, so feed forward network won't do this job. So feed forward, the output of feed forward network has no relation between the outputs. So sometimes we need to relate the outputs of previous output or the new output. So that time we use the recurrent neural network. So what the recurrent neural network is doing, so to overcome the challenge, to overcome the relations between the output. So in the recurrent neural network, what it is trying to do is, it's taking the x naught time. So is the first time, so t naught, let's say. So in that first time we are giving an input, and it's do some process and giving an output. This is the t naught time. So, okay, first time. Okay, and then we have t plus 1, or let's say t plus 1. So in that t plus 1, it's depends on the previous output. If you see here, it takes an input, the first layer, it takes an input. And is there, let's say it is an hidden layer, and it's giving a output layer. It is an output layer. So the first hidden layer, and the first layer of hidden layer, it's depends on this output. So this input. Okay, from this input only it is giving you the output. But if you move on to the t plus 1, t plus 1 time, so what it is doing in this neural network, in the hidden layer, it depends on two inputs. One is the previous input, previous output from this new wait okay it depends on the previous uh, output from the hidden layer. And also it's taking the new input from the what we are giving. And if you see this hidden layer, it is depends on the previous output and the new input. Okay, and this calculating some value and gives giving a output. The same way is going on. So this hidden layer, it depends on this output. So this hidden layer is depends on this output. So like that, it's the chain rule. Now it's like the whole thing, it's like the recurrent, uh, I think in languages, in some languages we have a concept called recursive functions, like the same way it's calling like this. So this hidden layer is calling another hidden layer, this another hidden layer is depends on another hidden layer. In the same way, for every time it is doing, so t time it is doing. Okay, uh, using this concept is that's overcoming the relationship between the outputs. Okay, so if you see here, it's not a single neuron. Okay, it's not a single neuron, it's a layer, it's a set of neurons. It's just uh, okay, in this x naught it has some stacked neurons, and this hidden layer also has stacked neurons. It's not a single neuron, it has multiple neurons inside there. Okay, now and then, so what it is doing inside the, so how it is calculating the value using the equation. So first we are giving an input. So of course in hidden layer we have neurons, it will calculate, we know the equation, the mx plus c. So if you are doing a matrix, so that would be wix plus c, so the b. But if you see here, now it is calculating the wi into x of t. Okay, the t time. So in our case that is t naught. So it is calculating the, it is taking the input from this x naught. And if you see this one, so wr, this depends on the previous output. But our first hidden layer has no previous output, so that would be 0. It's because t minus 1. So now that is t minus 1 is 0, no, so it would be 0. Now the first hidden layer, it has no this part. Now we are multiplying the weight and the x value, and then we are adding the bias. And uh, this is our output of the first hidden layer. And this output will give you to the output layer. In that output layer, just the same way we are calculating, like wi into ht is the uh, output of the h naught. So t is equal to 0. When t equals 0, the output of h naught. Then we are adding the bias, and this will be the final output of this layer. Okay, and we are moving to the another layer. Now in that layer, what we are going to do, we are giving an input, so external input, and it is taking the previous input. So now what it becomes, so it becomes wr into h naught. Okay, h naught. So now h naught is our this output, what the h naught is giving. Okay, now it is multiplying by the wr, the weightage of h naught. Okay, and then it is giving as an output of the h1. So this output will give you to the y1, and this y1 is like wi into h1 plus by, so adding the bias. Okay, then the same way we are doing for this also, it's the chain will going on. Okay, okay, in if you see in the recurrent neural network, we have some problems. So we have two major problems. One is vanishing gradient, and another one is exploding gradient. So we will see vanishing, what is vanishing gradient, and what is exploding gradient. So if you see here, so in the recurrent neural network, it depends on the previous output, no. So the first layer, what is doing is just adding a, so in that back propagation we have the problem. Okay, so basically in back propagation, what we'll do, we will just adjust the weight and update the weight. Okay, this is what we are going to do. So based on the error, what the error is coming, so based on the error, it will try to adjust the weight. So this is what in back propagation will do. So we will do like w plus the current weight plus the change of weight. Okay, change of weight, the lambda y is calculated by n into de by dw. this dE by dW is the change of weight. Okay, so we can calculate the error by actual output minus model, the predicted output whole square. This is the output. Now we are calculating the dE by dW. So if that is dE by dW is getting less than okay, getting lesser value, so very less value, less than 1. So now if you try to change the weight, so W equal to W plus uh, lambda W. So here we are multiplying by the n. Okay, so number of value inputs. So now if you multiply by the n, so that would be give you a very small value. So if you try to update the weight W equal to W plus W naught, there was a little bit of change, no? So that has sometimes we don't have any changes also. Okay, this is the vanishing gradient. So when you have a very less change in weight, this is the vanishing gradient. So uh, the problem will come in a vanishing gradient is to, it takes more time to process. So it's just adjusting the weight a little bit, 0.0001. So what it will happen, it will take more than more time to reach a weight. Okay, reach the uh, global minimal error. So is the problem in vanishing gradient. So and then we have exploding gradient. Exploding gradient is the opposite of vanishing gradient. When we have a large value of the change in d by dw, this is the exploding gradient. So what it will happen if you have a large value in that, so this w is a previous weight, and we are adding the large value to the weight. What will happen if you add the large value, then it doesn't depends on the previous output, no, it has a very large difference. So in that exploding gradient we have the problem. So to overcome these two problems, vanishing gradient and exploding gradient, we use the activation function, like, sorry, activation, not activation, the optimizer as RMS probe. So you know that RMS probe intelligent enough to move forward fastly. When the initially it will move forward fastly, and when it reaching the global minimal, it try to slower the adjusting the weight. So we can use RMS probe, or else we can use the atom. You know that atom, we are using the atom. And and this is the process of RNN. So let's see in depth in the how the recurrent neural network it's remembering the things. So to do that, we have a concept called long short term memory. So it's called LSTM algorithm, it's called. So LSTM algorithm is a type of recurrent neural network capable of learning order dependencies in sequence prediction problems. So when you have a sequence prediction means, let's say you have time series analysis, you want to predict a time series data. So that time we use the LSTM algorithm. So what it will do in the LSTM algorithm, we will see it has the 4 steps. So you can see the small the understanding of this. So it's the first out, the time t. So it depends on the previous output, no? So xt minus 1, so it depends on the t minus 1 output, and it will give you uh, the future value. So based on this future previous value, what would be the future value is. Okay, this thing in the LSTM algorithm will do. If you see in that, in the LSTM algorithm, we are using tan h activation function. You know the tan h activation function will give you in the -1 or +1. So you just squeeze the output -1 to +1. Okay, and now so inside the cell, so memory cell, it's called a memory cell. Okay, the a cell, it's called a memory cell. So it's capable to remember the things. So remember the long memory or short memory, it will remember that. So how you can do that? So first, it is doing in the process of the memory cell. So it has the sigma is nothing but the sigmoid function. Sigmoid function, you know that from 0 to 1 it will convert the values, and tan h, you know, -1 to +1, and this what is the doing. So this is the sigmoid function here. We have three sigmoid functions and two tan h. So cross means pointwise multiplication. So we are just multiplying the outputs from the sigmoid and the previous output. This is the previous output. Now these two are our inputs, okay, and then pointwise addition. So this plus means the pointwise addition, okay. And now I said before we have four gates, four steps to involve in the long short term memory. So the first step is forget gate. So forget gates, this decide what information should be thrown away or kept. So I said before, long short term, the LSTM algorithm capable to remember the things. So how it is remembering the things is because using this forget gate, what are the information I need to store and what are the information I need to skip. Okay, this is what it's doing in the first gate. Information from the previous hidden state and information from the current input. So this is the previous output. Okay, previous output, and this is the new input. Okay, and then information from the current input is passed through the sigmoid function. So it's passing through the sigmoid function, and after passing to the sigmoid function, of course it will give you from 0 to 1. So values come out between 0 to and 1, and the closer to 0 means forget, and closer to 1 means keep. So if you have closer to 1, so keep the information. If you have closer to 0, so just skip the information. So this is the first gate, first step. And the second step is input gate. So to update the cell state, we have the input gate. So to update the values that are the inputs given to this cell. So input gate, first we pass the previous hidden state and the current input to a sigmoid function is given to the sigmoid function. Oh, it's not okay. Okay, where I get, okay, that decide which value will be updated by the transforming the values between 0 and 1. So you know, if that is a 0 means not important and 1 means important. So after passing through the sigmoid function, and also we are passing through the uh, tan h function also. You also pass the hidden state and the current input into the tan h function to squeeze values between -1 and +1. So I said before that, to help the regulate the network, then you multiply the tan h output with the sigmoid. So we are just multiplying the two outputs, sigmoid and the tan h. The sigmoid output will be decide the which information is important to keep from the tan h output. Okay, and the third step, the cell state. So the cell state, now we should have enough information to calculate the cell state. So we got the information from the sigmoid, this sigmoid function, and this step sigmoid and the tan h function. So this information, uh, first the cell state gets pointwise multiplied. So the cell state are multiplied by the output of the sigmoid function, and then multiplied by the forget vector, and this has the possibility of dropping values in the cell state if gets multiplied by values near 0. So if that is near 0, we know that we need to forget that, and then we take the output from the input gate and do a pointwise addition. So this is an input gate. So input output from this input gate, we are just adding the values. Then we take the output from the input gate and do a pointwise addition, which updates the cell state. So which will update the cell state and to new values that neural network finds relevant. That gives us our new cell state. Okay, this given to the this cell state value will given to the another memory cell. And now the last gate, the output gate. So output of this memory cell. So this is the output of our memory cell. And the last we have the output gate. The output gate decides what next hidden layer state should be. Okay, so what we need to give, what informations we need to give to the next memory cell, that decides the output gate. So remember that the hidden state contains information on previous inputs, we know that. And the hidden state is also used for predictions. First we pass the previous hidden state and the current input to a sigmoid function, and then we pass the newly modified cell state to the tanh function. So we are passing this tanh function, and also we are passing to the next memory cell. Okay, and then we multiply the tanh output and the sigmoid output to decide what information the hidden state should carry. So what information we are going to give to the next memory cell. So the output is the hidden state, the new cell state, and the new hidden state is then carried out over the next timestamp. So this is the process what we are going. I just tell another time. So input forget gate is the first input from the previous output and the new input that are given to the sigmoid function, that decides what information I need to keep and what information I need to forget. Okay, the next step we are giving to the sigmoid function and tangent function, transforming the values between. Okay, also pass the hidden state, and then the output will be decide which information important to keep from the tanh output. And then we have the third step. So update the cell state by multiplying the output from the in the sigmoid function and adding those values from the input. Okay, and then we have the last step, that is output layer. The inputs are given to the sigmoid function, and then the cell state is passed to the tanh that multiplies, and then this value is our uh, new information about, and that information also having the contains the previous information from the previous memory cell, and that outputs are given to the new memory cell. Okay, and the cell state also given to the new memory cell. So and that's it. This is what the LSTM algorithm is doing in a this is single memory cell. For multiple memory cell we can have. Okay, I hope you understand this. Any doubts in this LSTM? Okay, this LSTM what we are going to use for our RNN. Okay, let's see the implementation. So first I will just save this file. And also if you see in that RNN, it also takes the time to process, but not like the CNN. The CNN will take more time, but RNN will take, let's say, it can take 10 minutes or 15 minutes. If you have large data, it can take a half an hour. Okay, for me it takes, I think, 5 minutes. I think 5 minutes it takes. Let's see. To do the RNN, I'm going to take an example of stock prediction, stock price prediction. I'm going to the stock price prediction of Google. If you don't have this data, you can find the stock prediction, stock prices of different companies. So in that Kaggle, I will just, so you can also get from the Kaggle dataset. It has multiple datasets of multiple companies. From there you can get that. So I think from here I got. And also you can in that you can find the code for that also. So examples are implemented using the data set. So if you scroll down, you can find the data sets in bottom. Is just a explanation of these things. And also you can find the data set here. So you can see here, so the same data set for multiple companies we have. So for multiple IBM, multiple companies we have. And I'm just taking the Google stock price trend. So in this we have two files we have. So test and train. Training is for this data I will use for training our RNN, and I have also for test also I have. So this has some features in it like date, open, high, low, close, volume. So in my case, I'm going to predict the open stock price and every day. So what's the open stock price? So I will train. This is the 5 years, I think, the 5 years data set. So using this five, after training the 5 years, I will predict in the 2017 1 month data set. So what would be the uh, price of open in the 2017 the January, okay, from 3 to 31, okay. So after giving the 5 years of data, we are predicting. So what would be the price of 1 month data, okay. So let's do it now. Of course we need to import the library pandas and the numpy and matplotlib. Okay, now then I want to read the file and create a data frame. So using the pandas read CSV function, and here we need to give the name. So I will just copy the name, and then if you run this, you will get the data frame. So I want mat, okay, sorry, matplotlib.pyplot. I think I need to restart this. So I need to restart the spider. Sometimes it's happens. The same thing in this data source also we have the date, open, high, low, volume, the, the columns, the same columns we have. So you can also use this data set. So any doubts in the RNN? In the meantime, ask the doubts in the RNN. Any doubts? So it's starting. So in the meantime, if you have any doubts, you can ask. So it started. Okay, the same file. Now it's connecting to kernel. So and that's it. We need to run this file. So now it's successfully running. So you can see the data set in that variable explorer. So this is what we have in the data set. So this column we want. So using this column of values, the prices, we are going to train our RNN model, and then we will predict the 1 month of what would be the uh, price. Okay, what would be the stock price. And now of course we need to get the variable, what variable we want. Of course we want the open column. Okay, now if you see this, in this data set we have we don't have any y variable, no, so dependent variable. So I will tell you how to take the dependent variable. So first I will take the this column, and then I will tell you. So first I need uh, data set underscore train equal to data set dot index location. In that I need to give, I want all rows, but the column from the first column I want. So you can put 1 colon 2. Why is that? Is because so I want the first row, sorry, first column, so the second will ignore. So why I am doing this, we can also put only one there, so we can also put one there, but why I'm putting two is because if you don't do this, we get a reshaping problems, because it will give you like a multiple columns one rows. But if you do like this, one column two, it will give you multiple rows one columns. So and then I'm converting to the arrays. Okay, and let's run this. So we got the training data set. Okay, so it has nearly 1257 observations. So now uh, for training the model, of course we want two variables. One is the x and another one is y, the dependent and the independent variable. So what is the our dependent variable? We have only one column. How we can select a dependent variable? Of course we can select the dependent variable as like this. So of course in that RNN, what we are trying to do, we are just trying to calculate the price uh, from the previous, what's the price from previous, we are going to predict the new price. Okay, so let's say I'm taking the 1 month data. So 1 month means we want the 60 data. So from 60, so 1 to 60. So this data is a month, the data of a month of the price. And then after giving this data, the month data, the RNN needs to predict what would be the price in t plus 1. Okay, I hope you understand this. Like 60 a month data we are giving. So after giving this month, what is the price of the next day of the next month. Okay, so the first day of next month. Okay, I hope you understand this. So we are taking the first 60 a month data. So giving that month data, what would be the price of the next day? Okay, then it this what is our dependent variable. Now it's become the dependent variable. From this 0 to 60 is our independent variable. Like the same way for every data we are going to do. Okay. Okay, before that, I need to do a normalization. Okay, not the standardization, is the normalization. So I will tell you what's the standardization and the normalization. So standardization, what we are basically do, we are putting a ranges between ranges like -2 to +2, or it can be anything, and the middle value is 0 and the standard deviation is 1. That's the standardization. So we do previous videos, no, we do the standard scalar, remember that. So like the same way we have another thing, which is normalization. So what is the normalization will do? Normalization will convert your input, so in the data, to a ranges between 0 to 1 is the normalization. But the standardization will not the same thing. It can be a ranges, the varies, like -3 to +3, or -2 to +2, can be anything. But in the standardization, the middle value will be 0, and the standard deviation is 1. Okay. And now for RNN is recommended to do normalization. And to do the normalization, we have the function called min max scalar. So in that min max scalar, what is this trying to do is, so it's taking the yi. So i will I will write the equation, norm equal normalization. So it will take the yi is the every value minus the minimum of the x, and divided by the max of x, and minus minimum of x. This is the equation of the normalization. So this will be it will be done by the min max scalar. So you can do that. First I will scale the training data, and then we will split into x and y. Okay. First I will import the min max scalar from the pre-processing module. Import the min max scalar, and we need to, of course, we need to create a object for the min max scalar, and then we need to fit and apply the min max scalar to our training data. Of course, data set underscore train underscore scaled. Okay, I'm taking a new variable, and then I'm just applying this fit transform of the dataset train. Okay, after applying this, we will find the scaled data, so from 0 to 1. Okay, now if you see then this would be a ranges between 0 to 1. Okay, it's what normalization does. And now after scaling that, of course, we need to split it into x train and the y train. Okay, I'm just creating a list. What I will do, I will, in that data set, in the data set train, I will take the first 60 and put the 60 values into the x train list, and I will take the next value of the 60. So then that would be 61. That value is our y value, that. Yeah. And for this also I'm creating a list, and then I will try to loop the data set for I in ranges between, I'm taking the 0 is because initially we want the 60 values, no. So from the 60 I will do for this value, so 1258. Okay, 1258. And then for every time, for I first is I equal to 60, what I will do, I will take from 0 to 60 values, and then append it to extrain the list. Okay, I'm just extrain dot append, I'm just adding this data, the ranges between 0 to 60, then put it into the extrain. So how you can do that? So I'm taking the data set train scaled, and in that, so it's a number array, no, so we need to give us a range. So first I want the rows of what, from I minus 60 to I. So I will explain this. I minus 60 means initially I is 60. So I minus 60 means 60 minus 60 is 0. From 0 to I is our 60. From 0 to 60 I will take the values and put it into the X train. Okay, and we need to give the column. So column is our 0 column, so we have only one column, the index is 0. Okay, if we understand this, just I'm taking the ranges between 60 to 1258 and taking the first 60 values and putting into the X train. Okay, the same way we will do for every time, every I values. And then I'm also doing for Y train. So what is the value of Y train? Of course, the next value of the 60. After the next, after the 60, that is our Y value. Okay. So to do that, just data set train scaled. In that, uh, tell me what is I or I plus 1. I or I plus 1. So that is I, because in this in Python, so it cannot take the last value, so it will not take the last value before the last value. That means from the 0 to 59 only it will take. Okay, not the 60, it will take 59. So sorry, so 0 to 69 it will take and put it in the X train. The 60 is our Y value. Okay, and then the same thing for we'll do for all the data. So the loop will go on until 1258, and of course I need to give the column. So that's it. So this loop will work and give you the data X and Y. So of course this is a list, so the list performance is not that much good, so we need to convert that to array. So we can just do it like X train equal to np dot array of the X train, and the same for Y train, np dot array of the Y train. Okay, and then just run this. So after doing this you can find the X train. So now it's converted to the two-dimensional. So the first row is our first first 60 days, and the second row is our the next 60, like just we will take from the 0 to 60. So 59, that means 60 values, 0 to 59, 60 values. So the next is our the next 60, like that for every data we are having. Okay, now of course the Y train, the after the next 60, what is the value is our Y value. uh, Same thing we have, and we have now we have the X and Y variable, X train and Y train. So and then what we need to do, so if you see that in the X train and Y train, the dimension and the shape of the X train is two-dimensional, you know that. So the row and columns, but in the R and N, if you see, the R and N takes three-dimensional. Okay, I will explain you that why is it. So we need to convert the X train into three-dimensional. Why is because this R and N, it's working like first it will take the first 60 values, like from 0 to 59, the first 60 values. So we need to stack the values, but if you see in the X train, it has the rows. Okay, but we need to stack this. Okay, stack this. So the first 60 will be the first layer and the second 60 will be the second layer. Like that, we need to stack the data to give it to the RNN. So the RNN will take the first 60, the first layer that has the 60 values, and give it to the training layer, and it will train from the 60 values. Like the same way it will do for all the layers. So we need to convert the X train uh, into the three-dimensional. To do that, we can use the NumPy library. So of course the X train is our array, so we can reshape the array using the NumPy library. So it's very simple. I will take X train equal to np dot reshape. Reshape it to what? Reshape the X
हाँ
train into this
7:30
dimension.
होता है
So into this dimensional, I need to give this dimensional. So
काय बोलली
in this curly brackets, we need to give
मी
three
तर ऐकतोय
values.
तुझ्या गाडीला उशीरच होतो ना जरा साडे
We need to give three values. One is how many stack we want. So the stack is the shape. Like I will tell you, the stack is 1258, and then how many, sorry, this one. So 1198, and then we have the how many rows we have, 60, and we'll give it to the, and the next I will give you one is out for one column. Okay, same thing. Like how we can get the shape from that X train is very simple. X train dot shape, in that it will give you a list. So in that list, the first, sorry, the zero index 1198, and then the value shape of 1, and the shape of 1 is 60, and the last value you need to give 1. Okay, so 1, and then if you run this, it will sorry, I need to, okay, yeah, if you run this, it will convert to three-dimensional. Oh, the spelling mistake, reshape. Okay, and now if you see in that, it will not look like that, the three-dimensional, but uh, it look like two-dimensional, but it will not show you in this array. But if you see in that output in the kernel, so it's a three-dimensional now. So you can see here is there's a set of values. The first stack, the second stack, like that we have stacked values, first, second, third. So the first stack, second stack, third stack. So this is what we want. So after reshaping that, now this time to build our RNN model. To build the RNN model, I'm going to use the same library, Keras. So from the Keras, of course, we need to import the sequential class and the layers what we want, the LSTM layer and the dense layer. So you can get it from the Keras library dot models. First, we'll import the sequential class, and then we want what the layers we want. So I'm going to import three layers. One is import the LSTM first, LSTM, and then we want for final output, of course we want the dense layer for final output, and then for regularization we want the for sorry, I need the layers, import the dropout for overcome the overfitting. So to it will ignore the overfitting. So in training we can have overfitting. To avoid that, so we use the dropout layer, and then of course we need to create an object for sequential. Now I'm going to call as a regressor. So why I'm going to call as a regressor? So before artificial neural network and for convolution neural network we called as a classification, but now we are calling as a regressor. Why is because we are calculating the price. Okay, it's a continuous value, so that's would predicting the continuous value would be regressor, no? So that's why. And then sequential, we are creating an object, and now we need to add the layers to the uh, sequential object. So it's very easy, just put add. So in that add we need to give the layer. So first I'm having the layer LSTM layer. So in that LSTM also it takes some parameters. So we need the parameters like units, and another I will tell you the sequence. So return sequence we need to put as a true, is because so when you have you don't have only one layer of LSTM, no, we can have multiple LSTM layers. So that if you put a return sequence equal to true, then that means you are giving this layer output to another LSTM layer. So that time we will put return sequence equal to true. Okay, and then we need to, of course we need to apply the input shape. What is our shape of our input? And then so it's very simple, units. So what the units we want? So we can select not the very less value or not the large value. So select 50, and then return sequence. Okay, return sequences, sorry, sequences, return sequences equal to true. So that means the output of this memory cell will given to the next LSTM layer. That's what we are trying to do here. And then we need to give input shape. Input shape is uh, you know that 60 comma 1 is because for one stack we have 60 rows and one column. This is our input shape. And then we can add dropout layer to avoid the, sorry, add dropout to avoid the overfitting. So on the dropout I'm just assigning the rate, let's say 0.2. So as I said before, you can have multiple LSTM layers. Let's put some LSTM layers, one, and then we can have two, three. I'm adding 4 layers, remember that. So four layers have the same units, but in that last layer, last LSTM layer, we need to set up to false. Is because so after this layer, no, we don't have any LSTM layers, so we can set up to return false, or else you can remove that. So the default value is false. So and then so we are added the LSTM layers, 4 layers I have added. Then and also I have added the dropout, and then the last layer is our output layer. So what would be the output? And add. So for the dense, I'm going to use output layer as dense, and I'm going to assign units equal to 1. Of course we want only 1 units, no. So last output would be the value, so the price value. So and that's it. We are added the layers. Now it's time to compile the our neural network. To compile that, regressor dot compile. And of course in this compile we need to give the optimizer. What is the optimizer we are going to use? optimizer I'm going to use as a Adam. I said before Adam. And then for loss function, if you are using for binary classification, for classification, yesterday we used binary cross entropy, but in this case is our regressor problem. So we need to compare using the continuous value to calculate the error between continuous values. Of course we will use like mean squared error. So for using that mean squared, just put mean underscore squared squared underscore error. This will calculate our loss function. This will be our loss function. Now it's time to fit our regressor to the training data set. So X train and Y train. Now I'm just having a box as 10, so it takes time to process. So and also you will try to put more epochs, and if you give more epochs, our accuracy may increase. And batch size I'm going to select batch size, let's say 30. So and that's it, we have fitted epochs. 10 epochs will do. So if you want to improve that the RNN, you can just try to improve the epochs, number of epochs. Let's improve, and let's run this. Now it is starting that. So in that meantime, any doubts you have, ask the doubts. So it takes some time to process. Any doubts? Any doubts you have? So it takes some time to process. In the meantime, we will see what are the doubts. Okay, the first epoch. Uh, One person asked one question. I will just write it down in a notepad. One person asked this question: can RNN be used to process images of 3D? So RNN is basically used for remembering things, not for image processing. So you can do one thing. So that is you can build a CNN model, and after the output of the CNN, you can give it to the RNN. That can you do, but you cannot process the image in the RNN. Okay, it's purely built for remembering the things. If you want to remember this images, so let's say a dog is jumping. So the process are jumping. So you can just remember the images also. So first you need to build the CNN model. The output of the CNN will give it to the RNN. You can do that like, okay. So you can see it's take 34 seconds and 16 seconds. So you can see the loss function is 0.201. So our regressor will not be that much accuracy. That much accurate value we can't expect. So in future we can have anything. It can happen, but we can just predict a little bit. so it cannot be an accurate. So if you see the number of epochs, if you see just reducing the loss function, so we're just having 10 epochs, but if you add more epochs it will try to decrease the loss function, and also it can go the loss also 0. But now our case I'm just having 10 epochs to save the time. So the final loss is 0.014. So now our regressor is ready to predict. So now to predict, it's predicted. So using this regressor dot predict. So in that predict we need to give the test data. To give the test data, of course we have another file. So Google stock prices test, in this we have 1 month data. So I will just read that file, the same process what I did before. One person is to ask one thing: can RNN be used in streaming the data? Yes. In that, if you want watching a let's say watching a video, so before uh, 1 second what is happens, it can be used in the RNN. But it's mainly used, the RNN is mainly used for forecasting. Okay, if you want to forecast a thing, you can use the RNN in future what will happen. So to do that we use the RNN. Okay, and this thing I will copy this, the same thing I will do. So first I will read the file, but not the train. I will read the test data. Dataset underscore test, sorry, or total. So that would be test, and then the same thing for test, dataset underscore total. So we have the dataset of test data. Now what I'm going to do is, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to concat or add the test data and the whole data to combine and create a whole set of data, and from the data we will fetch the inputs what we are going to input, and that input will give you to the our regressor. So I don't want this. So first what I need to do is I need to concat that data set underscore total equal to pd dot. Using the concat you can concatenate those data sets. So I'm just going to concat the test data set test total and the first data set, the train data set. Okay, so sorry, now the data set train. So to do that, just data set and then the data set test total. Okay, I'm just concatenating this and the previous data set. And how we can concat? So if you need to concat columns or if you need to concat the rows, of course we need to concat the rows. So we're just adding the values into the existing data. And now and after concatenating, uh, I need to take the inputs. Inputs are from the dataset total in the total dataset underscore total. From this total dataset, what I'm going to do, I'm going to subtract the dataset test and the dataset train. That will give you the values that we are going to give into the inputs as inputs for the regressor. Okay, to that, so you need to find the length of the data set. Sorry, uh, data set. Sorry, not this one. In that data set, the open column. So in that data set, no, what we are using the column open column only we are using now, and then I'm just subtracting the value to the length of data set is total of the open. Okay, and then of course we want 60 values, so from 60, so we will subtract the minus 60, so it will give you the from initial to 60, and then from 60 to all I want. So just you can put colon here. So I will just repeat one that thing. So to get that inputs data from the total data set, what we are concatenate the two data sets, and from this total data set I want to subtract the length of data set open column. So from the length of the open column and the length of the test data column, so it's not run. Okay, so I'll just run this before. Test data total for, and then subtracting to the open column of the test data, and then also I'm subtracting 60 to get the initial 60 values. From that I'm having the all values from the initial 60. I want the all values, so that's what I'm just putting colon. From colon we don't have any values, so we got the inputs, but this input shape is not the what we are expecting. So that is the shape of many columns and one rows, so we need to convert that to a shape of I will just do that. Inputs dot reshape into -1 plus 1. What it will do, it will convert our shape multiple columns on one rows to single row multiple columns. So that's what we want. After converting the single row and multiple columns, of course we need to scale the data set. So to scale that, we need to use the min max scaler, but I'm not going to fit, you know that we don't want to fit. It's because our model is trained on that scale, so we want to just apply that. So it's very simple. Inputs underscore scaled equal to inputs, sorry, and scalar dot transform of the inputs. Okay, then run this. Okay, oh, it's capital O, I think the name of the column, the capital O. So and then run again. Sorry, of course we are forget to convert that to convert the data frame into array, so the values will convert that. So I just forgot that. Could not convert string to float. What? why it is doing. Okay, sorry, we are forgotten to put the column. So this is the rows we want, what are the number of rows we want, and of course the column is 1. Okay, the column of the open column, the index of open column. So I just forgotten that. Okay, once again. I think we need to give 1 to 2. I think we need the open. Okay, now it will work. So now we got that. So this is the inputs we want to give it to the our regressor. So to do that, so put predicted, and also one more thing I need to do, that is reshaping. It's very important. So we need to do this whole thing, reshaping. It's very important, and to do that, I'm just changing it to X test and not 1258. That is input shape. I think the len of input scaled. So now uh, we don't want this, so we don't have y. So then we want the test, and append the test, and not the train test data set train scaled, the input scaled. So and also we need to convert to array. Yes, X test. They're reshaping it. and then give the X test value to our regressor and run this. So now we got the predicted values, and these are our predicted values. And let's see the data set test and the predicted values. We are going to plot the two values and then see how the change is happening. So to that, create dot plot. First we will plot the actual value, the data set underscore test, and then we can give a color for that. Color, let's give red, and label that, label as a predicted values, sorry, actual values, no, actual values. And then the same thing for predicted, not the data set test, predicted. And then the color I will choose blue, and this is not actual value, this is a predicted values. So and then we need to label that access, sorry, x label is the date, and y label is the price, okay, stock price. And then we need to legend, so legend will label the lines and we need to show the plot. That's it. Oh, what is it? This one. Okay, I think the X test value, not the dataset test. Okay. Oh. Let's take the Y test also. And if you see, uh, the red line is the actual value and the blue line is our predicted values. So it's not that much accuracy. that much accurate value. But if you try to improve the epochs and run multiple epochs, so we'll get less number of loss will less for you. And if you have a small number of loss, the accuracy will be more. Okay, so from this we can end this session. Any doubts in that RNN you can ask. Any doubts? Any doubts you have?
Any doubts you have? So
So one person asked how the gates are working here. So the gates are, we have 4 gates. One is forget gate, input gate, cell state, and output gate. So first, the input of our what we are giving, so it will give it to the X here. This is our external input what we are giving, the first set of 60 values. And then is because the first LSTM layer has no the previous, so this would be has no inputs. So it's because we don't have any previous memory cell for the first LSTM. So that comes in the, our input will come in, and this will give it to the sigmoid function. And also we don't have any previous output, so it would be 0, and is multiplied by this, and the same thing happens for every cell. And forget gate, after the forget gate it will and it will send it to, so the next input gate, this will be give it to the sigmoid function and the tan h, and that will multiply it by this. And after that, this output and this input gate are addition, so are added together. And then the third cell, the cell state, we are giving this inputs to the sigmoid function, and then and after this values now comes in uh, the c value. And then the last step, we are last step, the c value is given to the tan h. And after this, the input of sigma, the output of sigmoid and the tan h are multiplied. This would be our the next output, sorry, the output of this memory cell. This output will be given to the other memory cell, the next memory cell. In our case we have 4, so LSTM we have 4 thing. So first we'll do the process like this, and then this output of the LSTM will given to the this LSTM layer, and the same thing the sequentially will go on. From this, if you have this return sequence or false here, so this would be our final LSTM layer. This output will give into the output layer. Okay, this is what it is doing in the inside. Okay, any other doubts?
Any doubts? No, please ask. Because RNN, it is very rare to find in internet about RNN, and it is equivalent to reinforcement learning and deep reinforcement learning. Like, it is a very rare topic. Very few people know will be taking this RNN or also reinforcement learning as well. So please ask whatever doubts you have. Please ensure that you ask right away.
I think we don't have any doubts.
Yeah, no doubts is there, I guess. So let me I didn't have go with the introduction. So please ensure that by tomorrow, please ensure that all these 18 members who is attending the call, or 20 people, but myself, Irfan, Dinesh, like I would please all 17 people, please put your reviews here. I would request you. That is the only thing we are requesting from you. So please click on bigdatahandson.com in Google, and you can go to reviews part, and you can just rate us. So if it is a positive or negative, whatever it is fine. But please rate us, so it would be useful for others to see that, and also we would have a recognition, international recognition as well, with more number of reviews and ratings. So that would be a great help for us. As if there is any negative thing which you have mentioned in the rating, we would be able to rectify it. So that would be a chance for us to rectification as well. I'll, so the second thing is I have not uploaded the video in our site bigdatahandson.com. So yesterday's video I have not uploaded, and so today you can find yesterday's video and also today's video both at a stretch here in this link. So you can see that on 11th I have uploaded. I have missed 12th. So I will be posting both 12th and today's thing, both in this thing. And if there is any doubts, you can also WhatsApp our number. Our WhatsApp number is you can see in our website. So this is 978-988-424 9566182384. This is our WhatsApp number. And also I want to tell you the third thing, that is our YouTuber. So you can also subscribe to our channel as well, bigdatahandson.com. You can click on this and you can subscribe to our channel, and also you can directly see it here. Whatever updates we make here, all those videos related, everything would be coming here. So if you want any attend sessions, then you can go for bigdatahandson.com, and also you can check out whatever sessions we have to. Okay, and that's it. So tomorrow's topic, what we are going to discuss is on. So tomorrow's topic is upper confidence bound Thompson sampling. So this would be the final topic for us to end the session. After this, we will be taking these sessions in Tamil. These sessions, all whatever sessions we have took in English, everything will be repeated in Tamil. Maybe in 1 or 2 days, we'll be starting in Tamil. So if you are interested also, you can join those sessions. Same timing, so 6:30 to 7:30. So all people who are watching this video, just make sure that you attend tomorrow on time, and also stay safe in place. So we are in Chennai, so things are more worse here. You already know, right, how things, how people are in Chennai, we are operating here. And also please, maybe in 2-3 months, we would Chennai would come up, and also Tamil Nadu. It's very worse in Tamil Nadu. Like we would all come up again. But do not travel anywhere from Tamil Nadu, from Chennai. No, please do not travel to any other state, any other districts. So that would be uh, so all other districts will be always safe and secure, because more people from Chennai, if they are going to other districts, no, it would cause. So, it would not be good at this time traveling to any other districts from Chennai, Chengalpat, and other regions. So people in Chennai, be safe and be calm. It would take like 2-3 months. After that, you can travel to native or your native places. So please, like we should not go at this point of time out of Chennai, because other people will suffer because of this. That's the thing I want to mention. And so stay safe. So things would all get all right in 2 months. And so tomorrow will be final session for us. And like we all would meet up tomorrow morning, 6:30 to 7:30. Ensure that you take you do all you can give your feedbacks in Google feedback column. Thank you.